And we are live. Welcome to episode 1 of the Under the Mask podcast. As I'm calling it now, 2.0, now with video. So, starting to get the hang of this. I'm your host, Nick, aka Casually Cosplaying. And with me is today's guest, one of my very good friends, Shadow King.
It is he who walks the shadows, he who rules the night. What's up, Nick? How you doing?
Pretty good. Work's just been all over the place, but other than that, I've been really good. Looking forward to the holidays, seeing some family come next month, and just kind of going from there. Just wanted to start this up a little bit before the holidays. Probably gonna take a break for the holidays for since December, and then I'll be back New Year under the mask going strong. So Shadow, how is everything on your end? What is new in the world according to Shadow?
There are no breaks. I don't know what means breaks or rest, man. It's been nonstop. Ever since starting the job in March, first things first, I'm happy because I've been happy at a job for a very long time.
Very good to hear.
It's afforded me a lot of opportunities, a lot of moving parts that are building up into something much, much better. I'm very, very grateful. And yeah, man, things just been going nonstop. We just we just kind of wrapped up con season with the Legion of Cosplay.
Yep.
We had our final con. It was a Music City MultiCon this past Halloween, and we have like one group event left, a Christmas party, and then we kick off the new year doing it right. I'm actually planning on kicking off the new year in a very awesome way, which I'm really excited for. But I'm gonna save that for the vlog experience because it's gonna be epically awesome.
Good to know. Definitely something to look out for. So, Shadow, before we get into today's topics, why don't you give everybody kind of a brief summary about what are some of the things you do? What are you a part of? That way they kind of get to know a little bit about you.
Yeah, so Shadow King is my stage name for everything. I am a photographer, a videographer, a DJ, cosplayer, cosplay group organizer, future con creator. Working on it. I do a lot of things, and I try to spread positivity and just keep pumping people up and having a great time all with everything we do. I am one of three leaders of the Natural Legion of Cosplayers. I've been a cosplayer for going on well past a decade now, with my only technical six cosplays, which it's a whole thing. But no, I love doing what I do, and I don't think I would change where I'm at now. I'm doing photography for both cosplayers, a little bit more of the spicy side, and everything in between. And DJ gigs are coming in left and right. I got a new setup. Things are just popping off, man. I am very. The only thing I will say is things are popping off, but I'm not able to spend a lot more time with my friends, which is something we're trying to change. So
Exactly.
that's why I'm happy to do stuff like this. Give me a chance to just hang out, talk
Yeah.
about the stuff that we love, which is
Nerdy
all
stuff.
things nerdy and comics, man.
Exactly. So, first off, shout out to my boy, the Order of Dylan, who is in the comments section. If you are here currently watching on Twitch, we are going to be recording this. So, this is live right now. Going forward, this is how the process is going to be. So, chat section is going to be available for comments and everything going forward. So, if you have any questions about the topics we talk about, send them our way. That way we can include you in the conversation as well. And then come after this live stream ends, it'll be a VOD where you can watch on here for a certain amount of time. But I'm going to save this. This is going on YouTube, so this will last forever. So by all means, ask away. So first off, we are going to kick off with our two main topics for tonight's or today's discussion, which is Black Panther Wakanda Forever and unfortunately, the passing of our near and dear, legendary voice actor, Batman himself, Kevin Conroy. Today's episode, although being the first episode with video, being very excited about that, it's kind of a somber episode. It's very a sad discussion. So it's kind of ebb and flow. We'll see how it goes, but definitely something we wanted to touch upon as the first episode. And I couldn't have thought of a better person to bring on than Shado, since he is a big DC person, as well as also, I know you love Wakanda Forever, and I know bringing your nephew to the first one was just overall amazing for you. I remember that post.
Yeah, it was great. Seeing when 2018, his reaction to Black Panther and the love that he garnered and all this stuff, and then of course with everything that happened, being able to treat him to this movie, um, on the premiere status, have him dressed up, have him masked, everything. He came out, he loved it. It it made the experience all the better, even though we know we were going into a very emotional movie. And honestly, that's been this weekend in a nutshell, man.
Yeah, it really has.
Touching on our emotions as not just nerds but human beings, people just because you know it's the same way with someone like you know Princess Diana or um, someone of that caliber in the not part of our world.
Yeah, like a John Lennon passing kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it affects everybody. So when someone that people grew up watching the story and the life of Princess Diana and John Lennon, and then so we grew up with Kevin Conroy more, and then we got to know Chadwick Boseman in later life. It's like losing two friends. One that you have literally grown up with, your best friend. Someone who have been with since you were, for most of us, very tiny people.
Yes.
And losing a friend that you met, in college or your last, 6 or 7 years of just being around in your new environment, and you feel both as an impact. Like
Absolutely.
you feel both, and it's uh it's tough. It's tough, man. It's really tough.
Exactly. So first, let's focus on Black Panther, and we'll start there. We'll and then we'll backtrack to Kevin Conroy after that. So just warning, this is going to be talking about spoilers for Wakanda Forever. So if you haven't seen it, apologies. If you don't want any spoilers, by all means, step away for the time being. But this is something I feel like we need to address spoilers to be able to really communicate this movie as well as Chadwick Boseman's presence and his legacy going forward.
Absolutely.
So to start off, obviously we got to talk the movie. We got to talk about Chadwick, and of course, we'll end on that mid-credit scene. So movie-wise, I don't want to give it like a real rating. I'm not really one to give it numbers anymore. But this was such a good movie, and I know personally that movie wasn't really made for me, but as a Marvel person going into this, I grew up mostly on the Marvel side, some DC as well, and I remember seeing Chadwick Boseman originally in 42 playing Jackie Robinson. So that was my introduction, excuse me, to him. And then I remember seeing bits and pieces of Get On Up with him as James Brown. I don't remember seeing the full thing. Funny story, real side note, is I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy with my buddy in Jersey before I moved to Nashville, obviously. And we get in and we're watching all the trailers before the movie, and we're like, these are like rated R movies. What's going on here? Like, this is weird that Marvel's allowing rated R trailers before Guardians of the Galaxy. Then all of a sudden the first minute or so of the movie starts and it's Chadwick Boseman walking into a shop with a shotgun blasting the ceiling, and I'm like, this isn't Guardians of the Galaxy. And they messed up and they put on Get On Up in the theater. So they had to have us all leave the theater, flip over into a different movie, which is Guardians, and bring us all in. So we didn't even get the Guardians like trailers before the Guardians movie. They just started Guardians for us, and I was like, it is what it is. But but I was like, that's pretty funny. Like to think back, I'm like, that was kind of also one of my first experiences with Chadwick Boseman, and then later on he ends up joining the MCU. So interesting to see how that works. But I mean, the guy was an absolute legend. I mean, from what I've seen in articles, interviews, everything he's done, nothing more than just a kind-hearted person. And the more recently, even I think within this week, I saw a clip from an interview years ago from when the first Black Panther came out, and he was talking about how these kids who ended up passing from cancer before Black Panther came out, but he would call them up, show them stuff from set or whatever constantly, and always keep in touch with them before the movie came out, like while he was on set. And then unfortunately, they were like, we just want to make it through to get to see Black Panther, and unfortunately they weren't able to. But he ended up like breaking down right there in the interview, and he was crying. He said, it was very personal, and at that moment I realized, oh, he told us, we just didn't realize.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's when I was like, oh, he knew for the longest time and kept it a secret and just wasn't telling anybody, but he hinted towards it. But imagine like knowing from the get go that you have cancer and you're playing this iconic character, the first official singular like solo African American character in Marvel Comics in the movies, and you're starting with cancer and you're talking to all these kids that also have cancer. That's hard. That's hard. I don't know how he was able to do it, but
Uh, just his character alone. I mean, his perseverance. Think about it. Civil War, Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, plus the other projects he had working on. I think the total count was almost 7 movies, maybe
oh
6,
jeez,
that he worked on during that time,
yeah,
battling cancer. Like, you know, the perseverance of that man going
absolutely,
to the very end, like that's just that's a story unto its own. Like that's something that will be told for ages. Like yeah, oh man, Chadwick Boseman was so sad, but he fought tooth and nail, worked hard, gave us the stuff that we loved until the very end. Like it's a story that yeah, it's both sad, but it should be used as motivation to continue in your own day. And you may not even be sick. You may not even have kids. It should be a story to just keep persevering.
absolutely. That is absolutely the message I think Chadwick was trying to get across to all of us. What he wants us to all do is just persevere, fight through everything. Somebody tells you no, you can't do this. Prove them wrong.
Yeah, man. All right, so let's get into the movie before I start needing tissues. Have me start needing tissues.
Absolutely, yeah. The entire movie, I was teared up. It's
Man,
from the moment the screen went dark, and you hear Shuri, and I think I lost it. At that point, I lost it. I was,
and it's so there's been a big thing for the time period between his death and now
mm-hmm.
of recast him, make sure multiverse, recast, just going
Yeah,
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and for Kevin to make the conscious decision to kill the character off in the story, it
and
it
then
wasn't
pass that legacy on.
and then pass the legacy on. It wasn't done as just well he died in real life, so let's go ahead and axe him off on the show. It was done in a way that was respectful and pushed the story to where it needed to go.
Absolutely.
Especially pushing Shuri's story. Like everyone in Wakanda was affected by it, but the main three, uh, Nakia being the lesser one since we saw her less of her in the story, but still had a very important role later. Um, King Ramunda and then Shuri, like their story, one of hey, well, I lost my husband, I lost my son. I I deal with loss this way, in the spiritual way, in the way I was raised, whereas Shuri dealing with it in the logical, in the scientific way, and having to come to terms with the spiritual way.
Absolutely. And I think that kind of also falls under the idea of more modern day, like the millennial, the younger generation of I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to get political or anything in terms of religion or whatever, but you see more people our age and older going to church versus the younger generation who doesn't really believe as much in that, if they do. So it's interesting to see how they played into that fact of Shuri didn't want to believe in the spiritual plane that doesn't exist. He's gone. He can't come back. It's all my fault. I should have been able to save him.
Yeah, yeah, and it it worked so well because when you're in the movie with Shuri, and I think that's a lot of the, I guess, people's slight issue with the movie that I've been hearing lately is the movie is great, but it's better when it's with Shuri and the who's the emotional center of the story.
Mm-hmm.
When it's with other people, other lesser known characters or just lesser characters in general, not lesser as in like they suck, but lesser like they're not the main part. It it kind of drags, which I will say I agree, but to an extent,
Okay.
because yes, Queen Ronda, Okoye, Shuri, they are the emotional center. They're the emotional heart. But being a storyteller, being a writer, um, knowing what they and was like, well, they shouldn't have to set up anything. It's a standalone movie, but it's an interconnected movie in a
Yeah.
universe.
Everything connects in.
Stuff. Even the smallest thing, it has to go somewhere. So people who weren't really feeling Martin Freeman's role and all that stuff, which is, I mean, he was definitely scaled back. And what we did get, I really enjoyed. Did we necessarily really need it?
Not exactly, but it builds to the
Not
future of the MCU.
not exactly, but he helped in parts that he needed to, and his part
Yes.
was done, and it was set up for what we're going to see in Secret Invasion. Cool, bam. And we even got Val's part and all that.
Yeah, that blew my mind. The moment all of a sudden I hear her voice, and I was like, "No!" I turned to my buddy who went with me, and I was like, "They did not just pull this off."
I was like, why is she here? Why are you here? But yeah, so going back to that, like it overall sticking with the emotional story with Shuri, it and seeing her go basically the what's it, 7 levels of depression? I can't remember.
Oh, I always forget that too. But yeah,
Yeah,
the seven different
yeah,
stages or whatever, however many stages of grief.
yeah. Because and that's exactly what it is. Like we've seen several different characters, especially in Phase 4 alone, dealing with grief in very different ways.
Yes.
And her way, you know, trying at first to, yeah, no, if I keep thinking about it, I'm gonna burn the whole world and not this robe. To, well, maybe if I save this girl, I can try to save and protect something. To, well, I see what you're saying, Namor, but you know, there has to be a different way.
Yeah.
Trying to even be work the peaceful way. To then getting hit with another pang of grief, which we'll get to in a little bit. To going into full scorched Earth,
Oh,
and that that was, I will say, I was not expecting that, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
was not expecting that either.
But and then to go in that full revenge, like you out here dealing haymakers, you out here in your new suit, you doing your thing, you doing your thing, you out here scratching, you clawing, you coming up with plans to make stuff happen. You final the final battle gets it, and you take a very big hit. Holy crap! That synthetic herb, I think it might be stronger than what he was taking, because she tanked a hole in her fucking what? And then to finally get to that point of which we knew was gonna come,
Yeah.
but I liked the journey we went along with it. To yeah, here I am, sword at your throat, claws at your throat, ready to end it all. I'm finally finna get my revenge. It's gonna make me feel so good. That's what I think. To wait, pause, think, the whole thing flash before your eyes, seeing the parallels between your two cities, seeing the parallels between you and him, and the differences, and then the peaceful solution. I really felt like that part of the story.
And it was
That
very much a parallel to T'Challa with, um, why am I blanking on his name now?
uh,
Baron Zemo.
yes,
I had to do the dance to
exactly
remember.
it. It's exactly it. Basically, and so seeing that journey focused on and told through the entire movie, as opposed to being the what C plot of Civil War,
Yeah.
being the full plot A plot, it allowed her to be truly worthy of the mantle. Because yeah, okay, you came up with with the herb, you got the powers, you got the fancy new suit, which I love.
Oh god, that suit is gorgeous.
Um, but in order to be worthy of the title, you have to show the same nobility,
Yes.
because you can't just take. I mean, we saw with Killmonger. You can't just take the title and go about your own way. It's not going to work. It's not going every single time. It's not going to work.
Right.
And so I'm really glad that we got that. And honestly, um, I gotta say it's either neck and neck or right on the tail of No Way Home as
Yeah.
being the best of Phase Four.
I don't want a number, but I'd probably go like No Way Home, Black Panther, Shang-Chi, um, and then it's kind of a mix up of all the rest of them for the most part. Multiverse of Madness, I enjoyed. Um,
Yes. No.
Black Widow. What else was in that? Love and Thunder. Am I missing one? I think there were seven
Yeah, the
movies.
series,
Yeah.
Black Widow.
Yep, I have that.
Yeah. So like I plan on doing a ranking probably before the end. I haven't done
Mm-hmm.
any videos on YouTube in a while, and I need to go ahead and drop one. I've got a couple of podcasts to put on there. You were part of one,
Yes, I
so
was.
yeah, that's it's coming eventually. Soon. But anyway, but yeah, no, like it that story alone, and there are so many other stories that are being told, other characters that were introduced, but
Yes.
just sticking to this one point, this one character, that made the movie alone. Like it made it worthwhile watching. I plan on going back and seeing it again, just to enjoy and see the story more, see the sort of nuances and pieces of it. But that was just Shuri's character.
And to piggyback off of that as well, also, I want to, before we move on to any other characters, I do want to say two things. One, to the influencers who have stated, oh, well, Shuri didn't have a training montage. She doesn't need one. How dare you even assume that she needed one? First of all, herb. Second of all, her technology. She's been her
Uh,
at
First of
all
all,
T'Challa.
she's Wakandan trained.
Yeah.
That's they can choose whatever path they want to, but guaranteed they gonna be shown how to throw hands.
Yeah.
Second of all, she wasn't just on the sidelines working tech like Felicity on Arrow in the Battle for Earth. She was in the Battle for Earth. She was in the lineup with the Speed
Yeah.
Force. She was blasting Thanos with her gauntlets. She was smacking down foes. Like, she's battle tested.
Absolutely.
She's battle ready. She didn't need a montage, fam. So she just has to, get her powers up. She got it. She got the suit. She got tech. She was already battle ready. She didn't need the montage.
And then,
So,
so yeah, that, and then the other point I wanted to make, which will also transition to another character or two, is M'Baku's words to Shuri towards the end of the
yes,
movie, which really hit home for me. Which I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know if I remember the exact wording, but it was, "You've suffered too much loss to still be considered a child."
yes. So they were at. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it. They were at Queen Ramonda's burial site, and they were they would go back and forth, and she said, you would you would want to be under the rule of a child who scoffs at tradition, the point that he made in the first movie, and he comes back with that exact line of, "You have suffered too much to be considered a child," and I mean, it's true.
Yeah. Which I think, like, other than what, Phase 4, 5, 6, what the whole, like, we originally had the Infinity Saga, what each phase meant and stuff like that. I really do feel like Phase 4 was about grief, loss, trauma. I mean, Peter Parker lost everything. Shuri lost everything. Wanda lost everything. Kate Bishop had to lose her mom to go into jail. Everybody, I think that's really going to bond all of the future characters going forward a lot, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. That's what, like, I love that Marvel does, is that they really just make their characters so grounded and down to earth, and that you can relate to them.
To piggyback off that point, to everyone, talking about like, oh man, Phase Four sucks. It's so funny. It's always comedic stuff. Um, One, we just talked about the majority of the characters in Phase Four deal with a lot of grief. Two, in order to balance out the grief, you need a little bit of levity and comedy. And three, do you not know what's coming?
Yeah.
Do you not understand what's about to happen?
Did you not see the trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Because let me explain something. Thanos, all powerful, rocked the Avengers, rocked Earth, rocked the universe.
That's cute. That's all cute and all.
That's cute. Uh, we are getting darkest timelines very soon.
Did you not see the pictures on set of was it Creed 3? Scott Lang in for an ass beating.
Yeah, so let us have our comedy. Let us, if fans who actually know what we're getting into, let us have our Love and Thunder fun time. Let us have our She-Hulk CGI twerking girl. Let us have that, because in the next couple of years,
Oh, it's gonna be a rough one. It's gonna be a rough one. As a Spider-Man fan, well, I mean, rumors are knowing, I think that Tom Holland has signed another trilogy, but other than that, worried about the future of that, because God knows what's gonna happen with that.
uh, oh,
Other than Secret Wars and his trilogy or whatever, yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get Miles at some point, but I just hope that doesn't mean we kill off Peter.
no, I
That's
don't.
all I care about.
Going back to the movie.
Yes.
So, okay, so we talked about our main protagonist. Let's talk about our antagonist, because
Go, gone.
he was on 10 from the jump. From the little shadow you saw him tossing that elevator. No, I'm sorry, not elevator, helicopter. Let me say that again. Tossing a helicopter into the ocean while it was in flight on 10 from the very beginning. Uh, I can't think of the actor's name right now. That's really I have no notes.
I know we should have pulled up notes. That's my bad.
No, this is just me coming off the rib, guys. He brought Namor, one of the most antagonistic anti-heroes of all time, to life in a fashion that I really, really enjoy, and I need him to have his own movie. I really do. Or
I'm
either
probably gonna pronounce this incorrectly, and I apologize, but it is Tanoch Huerta.
yes, either give me a 9 episode series or a special presentation, but I need more of him. I need more of his story because my lord, every time he was on scene, intimidation was on 10. Even in the scenes where he's being, calm and collected, intimidation is on 10. Like it was, and you get the villain vibes. He because that's what he
Oh
is in the
yeah,
movie. He is the villain, but because those of us who know that he is an anti-hero,
yeah. You see those little sprinkles of anti-hero
you see those little sprinkles. You see him being a king who understands, how
protecting your people.
I'm at the mercy of this other nation, and they could possibly end up wiping out. Stuff could let us. And he even like I said, being a king, he even came with an offering. Give us the girl, kill her. There'll be an alliance. We'll help Wakanda when needed. Of course, situations arose where that it didn't pop up like it should have, and he made a statement, a very big statement, one that, while didn't have the same resonating weight in the comics, and so what I'm referring to, of course, is him drowning Wakanda, uh, in a way that it wasn't done like it was in the comics. It was him them attacking Wakanda, and then he drowned the main capital with like a bunch of water bombs that ended up killing the queen. So that's what it was in the movie. In the comics, powered up by the Phoenix, let me tell you,
Oh,
he tidal waved, drowned. I mean, absolutely wrecked Wakanda. So I gotta say, the Wakandas in the movie got off kind of easy. Not,
yeah.
not even gonna lie, they got off kind of easy, to be completely honest. Um,
I mean,
and yes,
water, Phoenix Force.
and so and while I would have loved, oh God, I would have loved to see T'Challa versus
No more.
Namor, and have that antagonistic era going into Secret Wars, for which we all know that that's what happened. I feel like them coming to the conclusion that we got in this movie, it worked for what we need going forward. They have this alliance. Will it last? Who knows?
I mean, so is this me? Is it just me? I was telling my buddy about this in the movies while we were watching. I got serious like Fantastic Four, Sue Storm vibes between Shuri and Namor. Like how the love triangle is with Reed and Sue and Namor.
I legit thought for a minute they were gonna be,
You stay with me, and that's that.
yeah. I invited you down. I didn't invite you. You kind of came with your own
Yeah,
way. But you're down here now, and you came to see my city. You kind of can't leave now.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
new queen.
That's what I thought was going to happen too. I mean, I like what they went, how they went with it, but
Yeah,
I'm sure they're going to do that with the Fantastic Four still too.
yeah. Honestly, I would rather them save that because that's just Namor being the Giga Chad that he is. So give him this. Give him like a small presentation. Have whatever role he has in Kang Dynasty and Secret War because it's a waste not to have him be a part of it. That's the
Hmm.
thing. You give us the first Fantastic Four movie, you fine, and you tease us at the end with, "Oh, what's up, Namor? Hey, so you want to leave your husband? Come with me." But yeah, no. Overall, a very, very outstanding take on Namor. Um, I absolutely loved it. Calling him a mutant off rip.
Yeah,
Doing the
perfect.
you even made Feather Feet look good. Like what? That should not have worked in a live action setting, and you made it look good. You made it feel real, and then figuring out his weakness with him having to go back in the water to get restrained. All of that
Genius.
made for an amazing performance, and I need to see more of Namor.
And perfect add-ons alongside him of Namora and also Atuma, who I have never thought I'd see a actual like seriously badass Atuma. I've always known Atuma as a joke character. There's a comic shop back in Jersey, my hometown, and they do like little Atuma quotes of the week or whatever. And so they just put up a picture of Atuma on a dry erase board, and they write like little quotes, and it's like mostly Arnold Schwarzenegger, like "What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age." Those type of things, like that kind of like Atuma water puns.
Yeah,
And so I've always like acknowledged Atuma as, oh, it's a joke character. He came out here, looks dead in the eye to Okoye, warrior.
let's go. On site, let's fight. And I like that parallel. I got introduced to Atuma in the Avengers Assembled series,
Okay.
where he was serious for the most part. But of course, he would just get thrashed, by Hulk and Thor, and that would be that. There was a fifth season of Assembled that was called Black Panther's Quest, or the Panther's Quest, that showed a different side of Atuma, and I think like where he was like part of Atlantis, because they didn't show Namor in that series, so he was like a high ranking official, like basically what he was in this movie. And so, kind of seeing the parallel of that fifth season to this series, I really enjoyed that. I mean, I enjoyed seeing him not as just no full blown like card carrying villain. He
Yeah.
was standing by his king, and he didn't betray him. There wasn't any betrayal. There wasn't no side talk. Now,
And in the movie, different story, but
that was in this movie,
yes.
and you saw even the hints of even Namorita questioning, like, "Hey, so I have thought about you, for years. Never seen you back down. What the are you doing?" So if she's questioning that, but he said what he said, she's like, "Okay, you know what? Fine, I get it." You can only imagine what Atum was thinking. So we didn't get the betrayal this time, but if you give us that 9 episode series or that presentation, I would do a Atlantis, or I'm sorry, Talokan Civil War with Atuma donning his garb and fighting a battle against Namor,
Absolutely.
and being banished. So yeah, overall, and let's actually talk about Talokan for a minute. Let's compare Talokan in this movie
Hmm.
to Atlantis in the Aquaman movie.
I mean, can we compare it?
I felt like I was actually underwater and being able to be in and see the city of Talokan, basically Atlantis, as opposed to just the cluster that was Atlantis in that movie. And don't get me wrong, I get it as a VFX artist. I get it.
Underwater is hard. I know.
Trying to bring that stuff to life is hard. I absolutely understand. But if I had to compare the two, I would choose Talokan over the bright white, big bright lights and of Atlantis in that movie.
Yeah.
Just because it had that more realistic feel to it. I mean, okay. Do you remember as a kid? Did you ever see the original promo for Little Mermaid?
Oh God, you're throwing it back. But I mean,
Yeah,
I remember seeing the Little Mermaid. Like
it was it
my
was a
sister was
black
obsessed with it, so we had the VHS. We watched it all the time.
it was it was a it was like on a movie that came out before the movie. It was a black screen and like a little light at the very bottom, and all you saw was just something moving in the water and like
Yes.
Ariel going
Hmm.
that that as a kid, that scared the shit out of me. Like, because I'm watching this movie, it's in the dark and everything, and then the screen just goes black, and you see that. So that feeling, Coogler gave me that feeling again in this movie. The underwater scenes gave that almost horror feel
Yeah.
to the Atlanteans in this movie. And that first scene with the government guys and them underwater being snatched up, bro. You know what? I'm not going swimming for a while. Okay, cool.
Now
Yeah.
just imagine going forward that they start introducing some sea creatures as well as the Tolokan. It's over. Game over.
We got that like
But we had them riding on whales and then the big jellyfish.
yeah, that big jellyfish. That was ooh, I was like, okay, never going to the beach for a while. And that, and even scenes like that goes to the testament of this movie. This is a very
Yeah.
beautifully shot movie. Um, I feel like it being the last of Phase Four, given the time it's taken to take it. I mean, we've all had the stuff going on with VFX artists and everything
Yeah.
right now.
That's the whole issue in and of itself.
I feel like, and that's honestly, as a visual effects artist, I'm gonna do a video about that soon. But I feel like the time taken for this movie gave us a little bit more polished CGI to give that underwater weight more feeling to it.
And I feel like of all the movies that they really needed to focus on and get right, I feel like this is the one that it needed to be focused on. I mean, don't get me wrong, every movie matters if you're building a universe like this, but to pay tribute to Chadwick, to introduce a new Black Panther, to push that forward to say this is the end of Phase Four. We're going into Phase Five after this. The,
Yeah.
you need to make sure this movie's perfect. And in my opinion, I mean, is there one or two things that I would have changed just a smidge? Maybe, but that's me personally. That's it's up to the writer. It's not. I'm not the writer here. I'm not a professional writer by any means. So, but yeah, I mean, in terms of that, I mean, so we touched on obviously Chadwick. We touched on
Shuri,
Shuri Okoye, the Tolokan, as well as Namor. Um,
Riri. Let's talk about
yes,
Riri.
Riri. That is one of the small, little, tiny bit things that I would have changed is the color of her suit. Um, I loved. I was surprised. I was never really that well versed in Riri. I knew she existed. I knew they introduced her into the comics more recently in the past few years, and the idea of her taking over the mantle of Iron Man and then becoming Ironheart, as well as having Tony as her AI. I was interested to see how this was going to go down, how it was going to play out, if it was going to be good or not. And I loved Riri. I thought she was absolutely an enjoyable character. Born in Chicago, living in Boston at MIT. I mean, fantastic. Which, wait,
Dude,
it was MIT, right?
yes, exactly what you're thinking. She was in probably in class with Mary Jane, Flash, and Nick.
Oh, I just clicked. That just clicked in my head.
Yeah,
So
and
we could be seeing a team up between the two of them. That's interesting.
that
Um,
would be amazing.
yeah, especially because what if like he has to show her the ropes now as the former Avenger?
Honestly, I need a scene in Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars. I just need a scene of Peter Parker and Shuri just talking.
Yeah,
Whether they're talking science, whether they're talking grief, I just need them in a scene together. I need them to be a dynamic duo.
the new Science Bros.
Because one, they them together scientifically, holy crap,
Oh
nothing can
yeah,
touch.
yeah.
But them together dealing with what they had to deal with, like, oh yeah, so I had my brother died, and I had to deal with Atlantis basically, and had to take over the mantle. How about you? Well, so no one knows who I am, and my mentor died, and I kind of messed his legacy up a bit with the drones.
And then the multiverse happened, and then people
And
came in and just killed everyone I love. So,
yeah, so I feel you, Jerry. Let's build something together. Cool. Let's go. But no, I need them to be like a partnership in those movies.
yes,
Marvel, if you're
absolutely.
listening, if you're watching this, let it happen. But yeah, no, Riri, and so everyone was like, "Oh, are we gonna get Iron Lad as part of the Young Avengers?" We get realistically not yet, and I say not yet because if you're introducing Kang, Nathaniel Richards is going to be a player in some form or fashion very soon, and I think he might be a setup and slash antagonist of whatever Young Avenger thing we're going to get.
Hmm.
There are unnamed projects in Phase 6,
Yes.
and so I feel like they're gonna. And honestly, God, dude, we could do a whole podcast of just where we could
Oh
break down
yeah, exactly.
realize basically that's the whole thing. Um, Having Riri be the mechanic slash Iron character of the Young Avengers. Let's look at the roster so far.
Riri,
Riri, Miss Marvel,
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop, Cassie's coming.
Yes, we're getting stature.
We're eventually gonna get Lucas in some shape, form, or fashion as Patriot or uh,
Oh,
Patrioteer.
you're talking about Bradley.
Yeah. And the twins.
Hmm. We'll probably get Hulkling, or they might combine Hulkling and Scar, maybe.
Yes. So we've got a nicely stacked team. Um, what they have to deal with is going to have to be both enough for them to handle, but also set up for the continuing story.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm excited. This Having Riri in this story gets me more excited for both that project, but for her own show. The fact that we're getting an Ironheart series
Hmm.
with her on her own, because okay, her suit she had to leave it in Wakanda, but she now has the experience of building a fully functional suit. You know good and well. She was like, "Yeah, so here's your card back, but you gotta leave the suit here."
Yeah,
Okay, okay, cool. In the back of her head, this
I
girl
might get that suit.
this girl is going to go home and build another suit. I just know it. I just know it.
It won't be out of vibranium, but
I just know it, but I'm not going to deal with it because it's not vibranium. Whatever. Like, Shuri was thinking, you know what?
yeah.
I can't even be mad. Build your suit, baby. Have fun.
But
um,
yeah, that's the one thing I would have changed is instead of giving her the Iron Man colors, which
mhm.
cool if you want to do that, pay tribute to Tony Stark in the MCU, who is the foundation of the MCU. Sure, but if you're trying to really make her her own character, which you are supposed to be doing, give her comic book characters pink and yellow and silver. And everything. Like the helmet being completely black gave me absolutely just radiant black vibes, where it just looked like radiant black. And I was like, are we still in Marvel here?
To be fair, it was built in like what 3 days, a week.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I'm salty. Here we are, cosplayers trying to build our stuff. It takes us months. We're in Wakanda. It's like, oh, he's coming back in a week. All right, let me just go ahead and pop this together. Here's some synthetic herb. Here's a brand new Iron Man suit made of vibranium. Here you go.
We'll just talk to my AI and tell them to build the suit for me.
Right. And so, but yeah, no. Overall, I'm excited for what's coming with Riri. Very, very well
Yeah, we
marketed.
got Armor Wars already for her.
Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I know she's in her series.
Yes. And
I don't.
Cheadle is going to be showing up in her series as well, but I'm pretty sure she's in Armor Wars as well.
I mean, it'd be a shame not to have her
Yeah,
armor, and which is now a movie. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm very happy about. As long as we get Justin Hammer back, give me the hammer dance.
he will. He will.
I know.
Honestly, and having her, I really hope we do get to see her interact with Morgan and Pepper.
Yes, yes,
Kind of be that if Peter, who no one knows now, can't be that Uncle Peter or Big Brother Peter, Morgan needs a sibling to latch onto in dealing with what she's gonna have to deal with, and then we could see a scene of the Avengers getting tossed into the future by Kang, and instead of Riri in the Ironheart suit, it's Morgan.
yeah. I would love
It,
that.
it can be so many different things that could happen based on what we're seeing now, and to give us these fresh faced characters along with the characters who are dealing with so much grief, it balances out because we get those who like, hey, so I've dealt with some stuff, but you're clearly dealing with a bunch right now,
Yeah,
and the way I see it, we can either tackle this together and knock it out, or you can just keep sitting there and whining, which what it's gonna be.
yeah.
So Riri. Okay, before we go any further, we vaguely touch on Okoye,
Hmm.
and I do want to get to her, but we gotta talk about Angela Bassett, Queen Ramonda. Give Angela Bassett an Oscar right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god.
Absolutely. And
um,
I saw some posts, and I actually kind of agree with this. Everybody was saying like, I can't believe they. I will be the first person to say I said it too when I came out of the theater. I can't believe they killed her off. Blah blah blah. The post that I read, I was like, you know what? Nope, that's a better wording of it. They didn't kill her off. How dare you say that? She sacrificed herself.
she did. Yeah. So it wasn't just a random, uh, Final Destination. Oh, boom! You've been killed off. You're done. No,
Yeah.
it was a sacrifice for the future of the MCU. Let's just say for the future of the MCU. Not just this girl, but she could possibly be the one to come up with the plan to stop Kang in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So anything, but God, man, Angela Bassett brought her A game, which she always does. She brought her
Well,
A
yeah.
game to this, and then so everyone was like shocked in the theater when she died. And I was too, but it takes me back to well, I can't really compare it to Amazing Spider-Man 2 because going in, I wanted Gwen to die.
Yeah.
I was the odd man in the theater at that time.
Me too.
I was the odd, like when that head hit that pavement, and everyone was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Yes!" And people actually looked
I
at
was
me
a mix of that. I was like a,
what the hell is
oh
wrong
damn.
with you?
Okay, cool.
This needed to happen because
Mm-hmm.
if you got Green Goblin, Spider Man, and Gwen Stacy in the same scene together, and she did
It's
not
gonna
die,
happen.
and
There's,
they did die, we be burning down the theater right now.
mm-hmm.
So be glad it happened, so the theater gets to stay alive right now. But no, so going up against Namor, drowning Wakanda, you knew at least one
Yeah.
supporting character was gonna bite the
I was like, please don't let it be M'Baku. Please don't let it be M'Baku.
like it does. So, and for it to be the queen who has dealt with so much, who was trying to save her family, who sacrificed her life for a girl she barely even knew,
Yeah.
that just gives so much more weight to the character, so much more weight to the person that she was as both a queen and as a human being. Again, shout out to Angela Bassett for bringing this character to life. And I mean, there are moments in this movie where you see the actors, grieving for T'Challa and grieving for other stuff. And honestly, I'm sure that most of that isn't even acting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it shows just the strength of character for these actors to deal with that big of a loss and continue to be a part of the story and make the story what it was.
And on another note, can we add also the costuming and effects and makeup to another Oscar? Because yeah, music too, but like the the all white at the funeral. And it was gorgeous. I saw pictures of you guys at the theater and over by you guys, and gorgeous. I loved everything that you guys pulled off. White outfit Fury for you. MG Mutant Glue, our friend, pulling out the Shuri Black Panther suit.
Shout out to
Uh,
MG. What's up?
who else did we see?
Several members of the Legion of Cosplay was
Yes.
there. Several members of the national community was there because Tim Rucker, Captain America was there.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of his group. It was. I mean, we were all out, and it was really a big experience to be a part of that. And so funny small side tangent. White pants are hard to find. And to add to that, white pants that can fit me. So I had to struggle. I had to drive all over to try to find some white pants because I did not want to do that premiere without going dressed up for that funeral.
Yeah.
So I knew I was gonna wear white the day I was gonna watch the movie. So I had to make that happen. And so for those asking or those who aren't in the know, so we go to a funeral, real life, it's all black. We're in mourning. I love the fact that in Wakanda and in some other cultures, it's not just fiction. This is something that happens in other cultures as well. Um, they dress in all white as a symbol of uh, being at peace or just being happy that
Celebrating life.
yeah, they're celebrating life pretty much. They're not just oh, we're super sad, we're grieving, we're mourning the whole time. No, this is the life of a person that I loved, who is now going on to be with their ancestors, and now we must continue to live our life according to how they would want us to live.
Like the famous line from the first movie, as well as Civil War. What is it? Was it Life? Yes.
Death is not the end; it's only a stepping off point.
Yes. Thank you.
And so it I really latched. Even the first trailer is showing it. A lot of us latched onto that, and
Mm-hmm.
this was our way, or a lot of fans' way, of going to the movie, showing that we are celebrating the life of Chadwick Boseman. We are celebrating the fact that this movie was able to continue without him, but to continue to share his legacy.
And perfectly shown that way.
Yes. So, but yeah, no, it definitely really excited, happy to have been a part of that.
Yes.
Okoye.
Interesting story. I was not expecting her story to go that way in terms of stripping her of her duties and then bringing her back. And
And so think about it. Grief causes a lot, and so you're the queen. You lost your husband. You lost your son. You lost damn near 5 years of life, pretty much. To think that you're about to or have already lost your daughter, the last the last thing you had going, even though she had that one thing in Haiti, but that's all thing. Yeah, no, that's gonna be. I'm gonna have some strongly worded opinions for you too, and I'm probably gonna as he tries to focus.
yeah, my camera decided to not focus anymore.
Uh, but honestly, I can't attest to the comics because I know things are very different from the MCU in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing her go on this new route, honestly, give us an Okoye special presentation.
Yeah, well, she was the Midnight Angel.
Angel.
Yeah, and they made how many suits? Two.
They had to. Now in the comics, they are a separate sect of the Dora Milaje.
Okay. Which I could see they're doing. Aren't they doing a series? What is it? The World of Wakanda. Is that the name of it?
Yeah,
So they could even turn. They could turn that into, instead of doing World of Wakanda, rename it the Midnight Angels series. Let's just do that. Like have Okoye build out her Midnight Angels team.
yeah. So yeah, they are, and then so I'm excited to see what they do with her.
Absolutely.
Because you're not getting rid of Denai Guerrero for
Mm-mm.
anything. Also,
Unless it's a money issue,
and
because
also, Okoye is registered as an Avenger.
mm-hmm.
She's a member of the Avengers. So, oh hey, oh no, you got rid of me as a captain's guard. Hey,
Can I come to America?
hey Sam, I got this new suit, right? I'm gonna come hang out with you for a bit. Cool. Okay, cool.
I
So
saw some post actually today that I was like, I don't know. They were like, I can't believe Bucky or Sam didn't show up to T'Challa's funeral. But one, it seems like it was kind of behind closed doors. They hid it for a while until it was announced, obviously, on the news. And two, um, I feel like I don't feel like that's their place to show up to Wakanda for that. Although yes, Bucky has owes his life to Shuri and T'Challa for fixing him and giving him a new arm, and Sam got a new suit out of them. I feel like it's not really their place.
would I have loved to see Bucky in the movie? Yes. Did we need him? No.
Yeah,
No. And honestly, isn't it? There are so many special presentation
I
pictures
know. There's so many
but
movies and shows and
but
special presentations that flowing through my head.
give us a special presentation of the current roster. I can't even say of Avengers, just of heroes that are left on Earth, reacting to the loss of Black Panther, like having their own little mini memorial, or just show us like in the new Avengers or whatever place is going to be.
I say give him a mansion.
You know,
Instead of as we lost the tower, we lost the compound. Give him a mansion now.
Avengers Mansion, something like that. A Hall of Heroes where we have statues or memorials to Iron Man, to Black Panther,
Give him the full like a full body life size hologram.
something. Just and you know what? Honestly, God, it doesn't even have to be the live action. It can be animated in what if style.
Yeah,
Just give us something to show that they acknowledge that they lost their friend and teammate.
absolutely.
But yeah, no. So I'm interested to see what they do with the Collier. What other? I Let's talk about M'Baku really quickly.
Yes,
Um, being scaled back because there is not a lot of him in the story, but what we do get
fantastic. I love
is
him.
so fantastic and is so impactful and meaningful. Everything he's saying is, yeah. So y'all want to go to war with him? Do you not realize what they call him? He is their god to them. If you kill him, you are risking eternal war, not just like a week long war.
Yeah.
Eternal war. We don't have enough people for that.
No, we do not.
No. And everything he's saying is impactful and funny. So he's both being impactful and
Oh, so you are the fish man.
and being freaking hilarious. I love it. And then at the end, finally,
Yeah.
playing that callback to the ceremony, and instead of Shuri walking out, it's M'Baku. And instead of the people of Wakanda being like, "Oh no, Jabari, what are you doing here? Get out of here!" What? It's yeah. And honestly, having the character development he had from both Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame to this movie, and at the end, I believe now we are seeing an M'Baku that yes can truly lead Wakanda and all of his tribes
Yes.
in the place until the rightful prince takes his place.
Hint,
And
hint.
that's gonna lead us right into the mid-credit scene. Let's talk about it, Nick. Tell them what happened.
So we see Shuri not showing up to the ceremony because she decided to go to Haiti to meet up with none other than Nakia, who has a little surprise of her own after Shuri finally decides to burn her funeral garments in ceremony of the passing of both T'Challa and Queen Ramunda, and boy, is that a surprise!
Man, so there were several moments in this movie where, mind you, I'm on the front row. I'm on the front row looking like this. This movie is awesome. But there were several moments in this movie that got me to physically like, yes. Wow. The first one, and I was the only one for this one, when Namor said Imperious Rex.
Yes, I like jumped in my seat. I was like,
Uh,
he said it.
oh no, I was loud and proud. I didn't care. I was so apparently it wasn't just me. Joe said something too, but I was the loudest.
So it just cut it all out.
Yeah, the only one who said something in like the entire theater. But then, and this is something that I wanted to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They were hinting at that they were. It was a possibility that it could be. She walks out with her. I'm going to say six.
Yeah, sure. Let's give it that.
6-year-old son whose name is T'Challa. What I love
Named after his daddy.
Would I have loved it for it to be Azuri?
Yes,
Sure.
that is.
That's a deep cut. If you know where I'm from, I love you even more.
Of course, I do.
But yes, being named after his father. God, man, if you hadn't cried at all,
That broke me.
that is what did it. That broke me on the level of Cap and Peggy finally getting in game. It was right up there. God, man.
That was my second change of if I could have changed something. If they were like, you're the writer now, I would have ended it with Nakia showing up with a teenage son instead of a younger child, and stating, or even not just Nakia, but somebody else with her and this child who's a teenager coming in and saying, "This is T'Challa's son, and it's not." He's been in hiding for all this time because of the fact of when Nakia was away and when they broke up before the events of Black Panther. T'Challa met somebody else somewhere else, and that other person coming in with Nakia is Storm.
Yeah, now that would.
And then you have Azari come in, and that is his child.
That would have been amazing.
And so the two of them have been living with Nakia in Haiti.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah. The only issue is the fact that they are not allowed to use any Fox-owned characters recasting until 2025. So it would have had to either be Halle Berry or I'm blanking on the actress's name from was it Days of Future Past? Not Days of Future Past.
Alexandria Ship.
Yes, she was in Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, and
I wanted more of her as Storm. Anyway, she's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. I don't mean to be that kind of person, but like, how old is she now? Like, do you know, like, roughly, like, too young to be T'Challa, or?
I want to say she is now mid-20s, maybe.
Probably too young for T'Challa then. So we would have had to recast or use Halle Berry.
Yeah, but before we did get and the timeline, which is something that they talk about in the movie and in a way that's it's not in your face, because there are these shows and these movies that never really tell us what they're placed at. We had to guess and guesswork or go watch New Rockstar. Shout out to them. But I think someone says to Nakia, you were gone for 5 years.
Yeah, during the blip, because
so she left roughly after T'Challa was dusted. At that point,
because they lost their Black Panther, they lost their king. To me, I lost everything.
Yeah, to remember, Infinity War timeline wise happens in 2018. Black Panther, even though it came out in 2018, timeline wise happens in 2016.
Is it really? I thought it was 17.
No, so
Ah.
its timeline correlates exactly with Civil War. It literally happens direct. So like Black Widow,
Oh.
so literally Black Widow and Black Panther,
Mm-hmm.
they are pretty much neck and neck timeline wise, happening almost at the same time.
Huh. Interesting.
Because literally he leaves, he drops off Zemo at whatever point in time he does, and he literally like that shot of them in Black Panther heading home.
Yeah. Is him after dropping off Zemo.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
him heading home, pretty much.
Huh.
After dealing with all this crazy superhero mess, I'm gonna go home. Oh, my daddy's funeral, and then everything else happens.
Yeah.
Happening the exact same time frame. So that's 2016, 2017, 2018. That's almost 2 years for him and Nakia to revitalize their relationship. Basically, she's the queen, um, and we didn't see her in Infinity War, and now it makes sense.
Yeah.
She was pregnant. He knew the impending threat of war or something was coming, so he sent his wife and an unborn child off. Boom. And then 5 years happened. I'm gonna go ahead and even though it's not confirmed, I mean it pretty much states that it happens after Endgame, which happens in 2023. So
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever happens at some point in 2024.
That makes
So
sense.
it can't be any further because there are some Phase 4 projects that happen in 2025. I want to say Hawkeye, but I can't pull
Hawkeye
something up.
happens like almost simultaneously with Spider-Man: No Way Home
Yeah,
because
going into
the
going into
tree is still there in No Way Home, but it falls down at the end of
yeah.
Hawkeye, and they say something about the Statue of Liberty getting the shield, and then it's gone, obviously, in No Way Home.
So yeah. So oh no, I'm sorry. No, which one? No, Shane. One of the other projects happens in 2025. But anyway, so yeah. So Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is definitely happening in 2024 because they mentioned 6 years,
Mm.
and we know there's a 5 year gap, and this has to be the sixth year, which means the child. No, 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 no. Let me stop. There's a year gap. I forgot. After the death of T'Challa, there's a 1 year later thing. Remember?
Yes.
So this movie's happening in 2025. That's what makes the 6 year gap. There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So like, and which God, that must suck because T'Challa died immediately after coming back.
Yep.
God. Okay, that makes me even more sadder.
Which means when did he know he had the disease? Either right before he blipped or right after.
Uh, something, whatever disease he had, which they haven't said what it was. I'm gonna go on a limb and say it happened after the Battle of Earth.
Yeah. I'm just hoping they don't. I mean, like, I'm glad they left it blank. Um, if somebody tries to, like, correlate it with the snap, I'm not a big fan of that because then why isn't anybody else dying from that?
I don't think we're ever gonna get an answer, and
I'm
I'm
okay with that.
okay with that.
Yeah.
So 6 years. She comes out with the kid who I said 6 years old, but he's probably six going on 7 at that point.
Probably.
Um, and he meets his auntie. It would have been real funny if he had sat down and said, "Hey, auntie."
Oh, God. I would have.
But yeah, no, that was a very touching
Hmm.
scene, and that sets up a couple different things.
A new fresh start as a T'Challa becoming a Black Panther in the future whenever Shuri wants to leave.
Yes, because we're not getting a Black Panther 3 for a while. We're not getting a third Black Panther for a while.
Yeah, I think Coogler wants to take a break in general,
Yes,
and I can't see anybody else taking over than him.
no. Give us a series, have it tie into whatever it's tying into, and then leave, leave it for a while. Um,
Absolutely.
but Like that scene I said earlier, where the whatever team of Avengers gets flung into the future, and they see Morgan as Ironheart, we can see a full grown Prince T'Challa as Black Panther. He can even take up the mantle as a kid Panther, which is something we've never had before. Honestly,
Yeah.
I would welcome a young Black Panther as part of the Young Avengers.
I mean, look at so it was. I'm trying to remember the name of the animated movie. Is it Next Avengers
Yeah, so it's
something tomorrow? Heroes of Tomorrow.
Young Avengers. It's something. It's something.
It's
Yes.
like the Next Avengers or Young Avengers, Heroes of Tomorrow, or
Yeah.
something along those lines. And Azari has the powers of both Storm and Black Panther.
Black Panther. Yeah. So would I like to see it? Yes.
Yeah.
Would it happen? No. But the the potential of it is there.
Which this could lead to also them choosing a younger Storm and having her meet now T'Challa Jr.
If you've never, if you okay, so do you know how Storm and T'Challa met in the comics?
It's been a very long time, but I know she's from Egypt originally. Well, born in the U.S. and grew up in Egypt.
So before the wedding, which of course led it to Civil War, um, Eric Jerome Dickey, who previously wrote like a bunch of like uh, erotic novels and all that stuff, he wrote a miniseries or a graphic novel detailing the meeting and the love blossoming of T'Challa and Storm, and it is one of my favorite, all
Hmm.
time favorite comic books. It's beautifully drawn. The story is amazing, and I'm gonna send you the link.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you.
Interesting choice for somebody to write for that, but
It is, and that's what I thought initially because I had read some of his projects before that, but in reading those projects, him having to tone it down and everything, honestly, the story we got, um, it was very because of course they go the separate ways and they come back later.
right.
So seeing them in their youth and them meeting, it's one of my all time favorite comic books.
Hmm. I will have to
Overall,
check that out.
and it's a standalone story. That's the thing. It's a standalone story that tells a story leading up to stuff that happens. We know that happens, but um, could we get that with this new character? Yes. Will we? With how they're
We'll
building
see.
stuff out, we'll see. But going back to the Hayate point. All right, so
Yeah, we did skip over that.
we danced over it. So
Cameo.
Shuri creates the synthetic heart-shaped herb. Cool. They do the ritual to send her to the ancestral plane to meet with her ancestors, get that advice, and fully take on the powers and become the mantle of Black Panther. And whereas T'Challa met his father, Killmonger in the movie met his father in his ancestral plane, which was in L.A. I'm sorry, Oakland. One of them.
I think it's Oakland.
Yeah, yeah. So instead of meeting her mother, instead of meeting her brother, which obviously couldn't happen, instead of meeting her father, who does Shuri meet but her cousin and
Hey, cuz.
man, our theater went
Oh,
wild. Cause none of us it was like, wait, what?
yeah.
And
I was losing my mind.
and you have to understand the thought process of that though. Going into with Black Panther, when the child was going in, he was victorious over M'Baku. He had shown mercy to his enemy. Was he rattled at the death of his father? Yes. But having met him in the ancestral plane, having a conversation, he went forward trying to be better. Going into the ancestral plane with Shuri, she was filled with so much grief, so much rage. Like M'Baku said, you have lost so much, you can no longer be considered a child. So she went in with the mindset of, well, whoever's going to give me advice, I'm not going to listen to. I'm still going to burn the world, starting with Talokan. Who does she meet? But the one who burned the heart-shaped herb that led to the eventual death of her cousin. I mean, of her brother.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it,
It's just
it
perfectly cyclical.
yeah. And his words range true. Hey, you're you you're not T'Challa. You're not your father. You don't have that nobility. If anything, you more like me, cuz. And you see the room start to light up, in blaze like that shot in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I always wonder what the significance of that moment was, but now seeing it, oh my god, it goes back to when I call this movie beautiful. It's not just because of the story. It's not just because of the shot composition. It's because the story itself, what's being told.
The story within the imagery.
That's what makes this movie a beautiful
Absolutely.
movie. The lessons being learned, the stories being told, the hard truths some characters have to take. Her being, like, hey, because then it cuts, and we don't see the rest of it. But then and and then when the kid asks her, "Who did you see? Who'd you see? Mm, who'd you see?" Mm. She just never answers. And then you see the final conversation when she's literally about to spear and kill Namor. You see the final conversation, what she wants to do, as opposed to seeing the visions of the city, both cities in parallel, and knowing what she needs to do.
Right.
And that goes back to what I said earlier about how that plays into the emotional journey of Shuri, and that was honestly the most best way they could have played that story out.
Absolutely. It was just so beautiful. So beautifully done that just I can't wait to see what happens going forward.
I'm gonna have to go back and see it again. First of all, so I can
I
read
feel
the screen.
I feel like that's what I have to do now with like every movie that I actually care about is I have to see it twice to be able to fully like grasp it and get a good feel on it. Like the Batman took it was what a 3.5 hour movie, 3 hour movie, and I ended up seeing it I think 3 times in theaters because I saw it twice here, and then when I went back to visit family, I took my cousin and showed it. I brought him to. I think I treated him to IMAX, and I was like, oh yeah, and it was great. But yeah, that movie it took a couple viewings to fully grasp. Like I thought it was great from the get go too. I feel like that's where I'm at now with my life is because seeing movies and seeing how cynical people are on Twitter and other social media just bashing movies. This wasn't great. This is how I would have done it. Or blah blah blah. This is a 5.9 out of 10. And blah blah blah. I'm so over that. And shout out to actually nothing to do with Marvel, but the Rexin Around show, Rexin Around on Twitter and Instagram. Michael is a fantastic creator, and the podcast they did previously was all about Star Wars and talking about the Clone Wars and then all the other shows that were coming out and talking about how toxic fandoms can be, and then turning that around into just enjoying whatever comes out and just have fun with it. That's what I've turned into. So it's also kind of the recency high of whenever I see a movie now, it's just coming out of the theater. I was like, well, that was fun. But now I'm like, wait, did I like it or not? And now I need to see it again to like fully grasp.
Right. I go into everyone is like, oh, you should lower your expectations. You should have high. I go into a movie expecting to enjoy it.
Yeah, I go into a movie expecting to just leave the real world and have fun.
Yeah, Black Adam is a perfect example. I went into that movie like, hey, we're getting a Black Adam movie. We're getting a Justice Society, the new part of it. I know whatever's going to happen in the movie. I'm going to enjoy as a DC fan and just as a moviegoer in general. And then after I watch it, I can and after I watch it again, I can be like, okay, so here's what stuff I would have done differently. But damn, that was actually a really
Yeah.
fun movie. I enjoyed it, and then of course that end kicker. But yeah, no, I don't. I try to go into everything with a bit of optimism,
Absolutely.
and then if it's shit, I'm gonna call that shit.
Exactly.
But I'm not gonna latch on to somebody else's thoughts or be like, oh well, they said it was this, and you know what? I agree with that. Yeah, it's this. It's bull. Like I saw a post the other day um, where, and I gotta say it, a non non African American person said that they enjoyed the movie, but it was mediocre. And it took me back to all the people in 2018 talking about why this movie getting so hype? Why is it getting so much? Da, 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 da. It wasn't really that good of a movie. It was just okay. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And I'm just
No.
sitting here like,
No, absolutely not. I will be the first to tell you I went to go see Black Panther opening night in New Jersey when I was still at home, and I was myself and my one friend were the only two white people in that theater. Everyone came out in traditional African garb, which, by the fantastic. I loved that. Pay tribute to the character. That was really actually enjoyable to see. And to see now moving into this movie, like we said, with the white garb, white garments, is just fantastic. Pay tribute to your characters. That's which I think that kind of also moves into the next bit too of talking about DC with Black Adam, and then paying tribute to your characters is the next topic that we have to get into.
before we get to that,
Okay.
uh, adding on to the last point. So he made his post, ooh, mediocre, it's just okay, da 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 da. Another person commented saying, "Oh, so I should just wait to put on Disney Plus." And I was like, "Yo, I can't let that slide." Hey, um, person who I've known for years. That was another thing that really annoyed me, but whatever. Um, hey, person I've known for years. Um, you should really go support this movie in theaters. Go if you're a fan, go experience it. This is an experience that needs to be experienced in theaters first,
Absolutely.
because it is that beautiful of a movie, or just it's that movie that needs to be seen in theaters first. And then they reply with, because of who I am, being an African American, they you immediately saw the tone shift of, oh hey, Shadow King, yeah, no, Black Panther is like one of my favorite movies, and da da da. But they never said they were gonna go see it. I was like, don't try to patronize me because of my
Yeah.
color. If you saying you love the first movie and you were such a fan, you shouldn't have been like, oh well, I'll just wait for it. No, go see it.
Yeah. Make up your own opinion.
Be a fan. Make up your own opinion. Go enjoy the movie. If you can't do it now, take the time to do it when you can do it, because it'll be in theaters for a while. But don't follow other people's opinions. Have the opinion for yourself. That's what a lot of stuff is happening right now with a lot of different stuff in the world. People are not forming their own opinion. They're latching on to other stuff. But that's an entirely different conversation that we're not going to have right now.
Yeah.
I just want to finish that point.
Absolutely. No, that should have been said. So
Yeah, but going into
the next topic, another really sad, unfortunately, topic is obviously the discussion of the passing of the one true Batman, and that is Kevin Conroy.
uh,
I wanted to let you take point on this at first because I know you're a big DC guy. So, by all means, the floor is yours first.
I'm a fan of almost everything. I grew up. Shout out to Fox Kids. Fox as a whole sucks, but Fox Kids and WB Kids and those early 90s show blocks that allowed us to see so many different cartoons. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm grateful. I am so grateful for stuff like Fox Kids, WB Kids, Toonami, because that formulated and gave my childhood meaning. And part of that was growing up with Batman the animated series. So when Nick says I'm a DC guy, I am, but not in the way most people think, or most people are. My main DC love will always be the DC animated universe. Do I love the comics? Yes. Do I love the movies when they're good? Yes. But you want a blueprint for how to make a universe? You want a blueprint for how to give your characters depth without taking away from them and actually being able to show them as human beings and characters outside of these godly beings or just regular humans. The DC animated universe and the start of all of that was Batman the animated series. And so it I woke up after work one night. I woke up like 3 o'clock. And so the first thing I see on my phone is breaking Kevin Conroy has passed away. And I just woke up, so I'm feeling like, what's going on? But I saw that and it immediately I was like, yo, what?
My Twitter blew up.
Excuse you?
I log in at work at 7 a.m. So I'm sitting at work. I'm sitting at my desk here, and all of a sudden my phone just starts blowing up next to me. I'm like, what? And so I look, and I see 3-4 different people all retweeting like tens of different tweets, all saying "Rest in peace to Kevin Conroy," and I'm like, "There's no way. This is a joke. This is another scam." Like where they're like, "Oh, he died, but he didn't really." And so I'm like scrolling through, and then I see a post where it was, forget exactly who it was. It was it was the Peter Mayhew Foundation, and I'm like, "Oh, they don't joke around. What's going on here?" And so I read their tweet, and it said that the talks of within the animated Batman animated series family and the relatives and close relatives and loved ones of Kevin Conroy are starting to murmur that he did pass, and we wanted to give tribute to him because he's been such a great person, being at tables next to us and blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
And so I retweeted that and like wrote my little thing about it, thinking like, okay, if it's wrong, I'll delete it. But then I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and I my tweet actually surprisingly made a little traction, which I was not expecting. I was not trying to put myself out there to say, follow me, retweet my stuff, like whatever I post, but I tagged New York Comic Con because I was talking about how the fact that I met Kevin Conroy at New York Comic Con in 2017. My first ever New York Comic Con where I started cosplaying. That was my first ever cosplay. And I met him at New York Comic Con, and the 5 to 10 seconds of me meeting him, shaking his hand, having him sign this, ask me my name to make sure that he signed it correctly, shaking my hand, and then turning and say, let's get a selfie together, taking a selfie. I was shocked by how kind and thoughtful he was with every single person on that line. It wasn't a pump and dump of sign, go, like every other celebrity is. Not to call out anybody, but there's a certain other person I would have liked to have signed this as well. That was like over $250 to have it signed, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'll just do Kevin, who is like, I think $50 or something like that, which was like super cheap for somebody of that caliber. And he ended up signing both sides of the Batarang anyway, so I was like, okay, cool. So that kind of sets it in stone for me. I'm not spending more money. So, but he gets a free selfie with every single one of his autographs. So it's not like you have to buy a picture as well. Like you do a free selfie with him there. And he loved this character. I'm standing there at New York Comic Con and do the whole thing. I go to walk away and I'm leaving the line and I go to take a picture of it. And they're introducing Theo Rossi, who is Shades on Sons of Anarchy, or on Luke Cage, or on Sons of Anarchy, he is... Why am I blanking on his name? I watched Sons of Anarchy so much. Why am I blanking on it? He's the guy with the mohawk, and he's got like lightning bolt tattoos or whatever on the sides of his head. So he he's like a hometown hero because he's from New York, so he was making a big deal out of it. And Kevin Conroy was not to be upstaged, so he climbs up onto his table. And I'm gonna do the voice, but the only reason I'm doing the voice is one, to give the story full meaning, and two, because one of my friends who's met him told made a whole big post saying that Kevin loved when people did the voice for him, and he would critique them and tell them how it was. So I'm going to do the voice only on that. So do not give me hate for that. So I take a picture on my phone of the Batarang, and I hear, "I am vengeance," and I'm like, and I look up and I hear, "I am the night," and I turn and I see him on his table, and he goes, "I am Batman." The whole place erupted, and I was like, "There you go."
Oh man.
He would do that line for free, no matter how many times you asked him. I bet it's the fact that he loved that character that much.
Yeah, man. It's oh, that's beautiful. That cherish that memory, man.
Yeah.
That's
And I know we have some friends that met him around here at another convention, and they said the same thing, just nothing but terrific things meeting him. And I mean,
see him. I never met him.
Okay. I will say, I mean, and he's been in so much, other than the DCAU, he was every other movie they put out that was animated. For the most part, obviously, every now and then different movies had different voices, but yeah, the Arkham series. What else was he in? I'm trying to think. I mean, they had Bruce Timm comics that are essentially basically him, just obviously without a voice. Video games, other than Arkham, was he was in the Lego video games. He was in the Lego movies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, he was doing this for over 20 years as the voice.
He was in Crisis.
Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Which, I mean, now even worse, because we've talked about that a little bit. Which it was fun to have him. I was happy to have him.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was a little bit of a waste, especially now, because if you're gonna introduce him and put him in a mech suit like that, give him a cowl.
Yes.
If they at least gave him a cowl, I would have been like, fulfillment. He is Batman.
It was definitely a waste in regard to what they did with the story, but just seeing him as the character that he's voiced so many years,
and he was so happy to be on set.
Oh, he was so.
I saw a video of him like, I never thought I'd be able to do it. I was aging out of Bruce Wayne, but little did I know it was aging into old Bruce Wayne. I was like, there you go.
It was such a beautiful thing to see him. That for a lot of people, there are certain interpretations of characters that are definitive characters. I mean, for a while, my definitive Green Arrow was DCAU, but it switched to Stephen Amell. But for the longest of time, and for now and forevermore, the voice that I hear, will always hear, if I'm ever reading a Batman comic, it will be Kevin Conroy.
Same. Absolutely same.
Kevin Conroy. That the inflections of his tone and the switch between Bruce Wayne and Batman.
It's that Bruce Wayne voice with just a little bit of grit.
Oh, it was so subtle, and it's the perfect blend. We saw what what Christian Bale tried to do.
Not a fan of it, but
what Robert Pattinson did. But the perfect blend of Wayne and Batman, that is something he will hold over every
without a doubt,
other actor ever. And he was just one of the most amazing people. I mean, he's an activist in the LGBT community.
His DC Pride book he put out this year was fantastic, and just shed light on so much.
Just such a beautiful person, man.
It's a shame. So
just like Grandpa Stan, who I did have a chance to get at least a picture with, but never had a chance
no
to sit,
no official
to talk.
picture on my end,
Yeah.
but
But
signature yes.
yeah,
Handshake also yes, which apparently not allowed.
yeah.
Oops.
Would I have loved to meet him before he left? Yes, but um, it's just one of those things that now cherish the character even more. My first video after the phase 4 video, whatever. My first video for 2023, because I'm trying to do a switch up with content.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in honor of Kevin, I will be reacting to Master of the Phantasm. I'm started doing those,
Fantastic.
and so that I was gonna do it, but I don't have the time for it now. But that is going to be my first video of 2023. That's gonna be my first piece of content going into the new year, and I can't think of a way to honor Kevin more than one of his best movie adaptations. And I mean, and even the switch. So you look at his work in the animated series. Honestly, oh, speaking of that, to have grown with him from Batman the animated series to the new animated series to Justice League Unlimited. Justice League Unlimited Batman
Yeah.
is my all-time favorite Batman. Well, just and Justice League too, but that version, like all of them, they're all the same character from animated series to that point, even Batman Beyond. But that version, that period of time in his life, that is my favorite Batman because having him interact with the rest of the DC universe that he helped build.
Mm-hmm. And you already have the Bat family where you have Nightwing, you have Tim Drake as Robin, you have
Like
Batgirl.
one of my favorite scenes, and a, a lot of his best like one-liners, and because it's Batman, so he's not talking much.
Oh
But
yeah.
when he is, he's either being stoic or he's being that sarcastic asshole that he is. We all know it. Batman's the nicest. Like me, is the nicest asshole you ever meet.
Oh, I'm currently so ever since the news obviously announced that he passed, I went into HBO Max and I've always watched like the animated series. The moment I got HBO Max, I started to just kind of rewatch all of the animated series as well as
Yeah.
any other Batman show that was on there. Once he passed, I went in, and I'm now currently on season 2 of Justice League. I'm working my way through it and going back into watching Unlimited afterwards. And it's
Yeah.
just like, I sit down and make myself dinner, and then I'm just watching Justice League for the night.
Yeah.
That's.
Every year I go back and rewatch both series, but the voice acting in there, and so one of my favorite scenes. If you were in season 2, you're either getting close to the episode, you probably see it. It's Maid of Honor.
I don't think I got it there yet. I just got through
So,
season 2, like episode 1 and 2, where he's battling Brainiac.
so there's a scene. It's a Wonder Woman and Batman episode, which that gave my ship that whole
Wonder
series.
Bat.
That's my ship. OTP all day long. Even more than Captain Peggy, but that's the whole thing. There's a scene where he just does the most Batman thing you ever think. He takes care of these, and I'm sure you've watched it before.
Probably, yeah. It's been a very long time.
He captures this dude. The dude's speaking a foreign language. He's like blah 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 blah. And the translation is, "You'll never you can't understand me, anybody. I'm never going to talk." And he leans. So
I remember this now.
The way that the way the scene is shot, he leans forward to the guy, so he's casting more shadow, and all you hear is "Ertim at the Stundenat," and it says, "I can, and you will." Oh, that is one of
fantastic.
my
Oh,
favorite
chills.
Exactly. Every time it gives chills, and the way he played it, and so I'm really like legit sitting over here trying not to cry.
I loved the episode. It was like one of the first episodes when Lex obviously realizes he's dealing with kryptonite poisoning, and he builds his own Injustice League, and he's sitting there chained up, and he's just one by one picking them all off, and it's just
that is one of the best.
Grundy, you're not being paid as much as him, are you? And then it's just that, and then he flirts with Cheetah, and then he sits there with Joker, and he's like, "Fuck you," basically.
You escaped. I could have escaped anytime, but I wanted to sit around and keep an eye on you, bozos. I was like,
"You're despicable."
Yeah. So it's so many memories, so many one-liners, so many ways that he brought life to the character in that universe.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then you look over. So okay, at the point of 2008, we had because Justice League ended in 06.
Mm-hmm.
So it had been 2 years without him voicing the character. Then to be treated to Batman Arkham Asylum, and to not just have it be a video game, one of a video game, but to have the voices of our Joker, our Batman in this new game that eventually turned into a series.
Which also, I think Harley was also Arlene Sorkin still, right?
In the first one, yes.
Yes. After that, she passed, and Tara Strong took over as Harley.
Not Tara Reid.
Yes. Dear God, Tara Reid, no.
Well, yeah, no. Yeah. So to then be able to have them with us again and forever, pretty much, like that's a replayable thing.
Yeah.
Go. I mean. And
I can still remember the first time I got my hands on the game because it wasn't mine. I borrowed it from a friend, and then I got up to the final battle, had to give it back to him by a certain day, and he ended up selling the game. And I'm like, I was so close to beating it. I ended up going back and finally beating it again, like years later when I have my PlayStation. I bought it on PlayStation.
And so we saw the relationship with Joker and Batman in the animated series, and to have them play the same characters but act a very different relationship over 4 games, it was truly a thing of beauty.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we give Mark Hamill his props, but it wasn't just him carrying that game. Kevin Conroy gave his all.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's part of history that will always be with us, we'll always have, that we can go back to. So now it's a point of, I just randomly feel like playing Arkham. Oh, man, wait. I'm hearing the voice of Kevin Conroy. So, like, it's just going to be stuck in there.
Absolutely.
Amazing man, amazing human being,
amazing talent.
Just I can't say anything. I'm
yes.
Really,
we'll end the topic on this because unfortunately, the news kind of came out. For me, at least, I found out about it. I think yesterday. I don't know how soon it kind of came out, but from what I've heard, obviously he passed on Thursday. Am I right on that?
It was Friday.
Friday, okay. So he passed then. Apparently he found out his diagnosis earlier within the week, and it was just that fast-spreading and terminal. From what I'm hearing, it is intestinal cancer. So with that, talking obviously this whole episode about Chadwick, talking about Kevin, I think... colon cancer, intestinal cancer. I think overall, the topic or the title, I guess you could say, of this episode. Before we move on, I'm just gonna name it. Fuck cancer.
Fuck cancer, bro.
That is the name of today's episode. Is fuck cancer.
Hey, Steven. I need like 3 cancer shirts. Like, it's back and with a vengeance now. I need like 3 of those. You get one for me, and one for my homie Nick, and one for you, and we're going to Kevin's funeral. All right? Okay. Thanks, Steven.
uh,
Fuck cancer, man. For real. And it before we go on, it's the reason this hurts a lot more than mostly anything else. That's why I lost my grandfather too.
mm,
Uh, was cancer. Um, when you see like us, like showing love and all these rest in peace, and why are we so emotional? For a lot of us, like Chadwick said, it's personal.
mm-hmm,
It's personal. I lost my grandfather to cancer. Now I've lost a part of my childhood to cancer, a part of my adulthood to it. Go get tested. Go
yes,
if you are sick, go find out. If you don't have the strength of will to persevere like Chadwick did, tell somebody. Don't suffer alone. Um, God, just don't. It's not worth it. Be surrounded by love if you can.
absolutely,
And love the people you have in your life now. Cherish them now because at any point in time they can be taken and be gone just like that from anything, not just cancer, but from anything. And so that's if I leave with any message from this video, love and cherish the people you have in your life right now.
absolutely. Could not have said it better. It's
Uh,
yeah. I'm not going to say anything else added on to that because that is perfect. So we are going to move on to the last part of the episode before we sign off, where the guest that I bring on will be given 10 RGQs, as I call them, or random geek questions. So a little bit of little bit of uplifting after a little somber episode. So I've got 10 random geek questions. Shado, I'll clarify, I accidentally sent them to Shado, but I told him not to look at them. So hopefully he didn't. We'll see. Number one. And this is gun to your head. You have to choose one. Everything combined. Movies, comics, video games, everything. Animated, everything. Marvel or DC? I had to get the hard one out first.
If you're combining everything,
Yes.
DC.
Alrighty.
It's very very layered of why, but it's just literally the very tip of it's right there. It's neck and neck.
Just the tip.
Pick. It just very much edges, and literally the only reason that edges it up is the DC animated universe. That's it. That's literally. If anybody was like, "Oh yeah, gun to your head," like, "Oh, why?" Well, DC animated universe, but the DC animated universe came first.
Yeah.
Well, technically, Marvel had their own animated universe too with Spider-Man and that whole thing.
Yeah.
But DC did it better.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Number two, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
All right. Number three.
And, okay, don't get me wrong. I like Star Trek. Star Wars, lightsabers, duh.
Sold. Number three, favorite superhero growing up, and is it different from today?
Okay. Yes. So if you know me, and a lot of people do, I grew up with Power Rangers. So the Power Rangers, we can go ahead and say the Green Ranger was my favorite hero growing up. It has definitely changed in this new day and age with all the stories we've gotten, all the different areas of stuff we've gotten in pop culture. Captain America is my favorite hero, and my favorite interpretation of Cap is the MCU.
Perfect. Number four, if you were to be given one superpower, what would you want and why?
Shadow Clone Jutsu. Why? So I could sleep where everyone else works. Oh, the amount of stuff I could So it's a running joke in the fanfiction community, in some stories, where like it'll be a story where Naruto gets made the Hokage at like a young age or whatever, and he makes shadow clones to do all the Hokage work while he's out like training or having fun, and like the third Hokage, if he's still alive, or Tsunade is like, wait, I could have saved myself all the paperwork with shadow clones. Are you shitting me? So yeah, no, dude, I would pop out at least like 50 and be like, okay, you go set up shoots for After Dark. You go handle social media for creatives. You go do our business plan for Legion. You go to work for me. You, I got a special mission for you.
Just give them all. Just start like putting in applications for a bunch of different jobs. Make all the money.
Yeah. What are you gonna do, boss? I'm gonna be right here in this bed. Now, I might have a headache when y'all finally pop, but that'll be worth it. The work will get done. But yeah, no, that would be either that or super speed.
Okay,
I could just do it. But yeah, no, my main one will be Shadow Clones.
Alrighty. Number 5. Take any 4 characters from Marvel. Make your own Fantastic Four team with them.
Oh. Okay. I can do this. Captain America, Captain Carter, what if version?
Okay.
Black Panther and Storm.
Ooh, I like it.
A all couples Fantastic Four.
No fighting there.
No, dude. Captain and Black Panther would be like, you know what? Your way is good. My way is good. Let's compromise. Get it done. Ding, dang, boom. We're good. Done. No threat would be. It wouldn't be no threats at that point.
What one character from the Young Justice or Teen Titans teams would you immediately promote to be a new member of the Justice League?
So, Teen Titans, Cyborg. Because the story arc he went, and they all got good story arcs, don't get me wrong, but the story arc he on really showed his leadership skills and just his tenacity as a hero. They all have great skills, but I feel like the 03 Teen Titans version of Cyborg would be an amazing member of the DC Animated Universe Justice League if they were fully connected.
And keep his tech blue.
Now with Young Justice, I would say give it another season. Let him get himself back together.
Yeah.
Beast Boy.
That's what I was gonna think. I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah, because my green boy done been through it.
Yeah, after the most recent seasons, I would not have said Beast Boy, but before that, I would have said Beast Boy.
And so get him some therapy, which you know they're setting up for, right?
Well, I mean, they're not going to do another season, as far as I know.
It's on hold for right now, but if they do, the ending thing was Black Canary suggesting a retreat of some sort for heroes to take a break, relax, and get therapy. Well, in the recent comics, what happened when all the heroes went to that certain retreat?
Oh, I don't know about that.
What the hell was the name of that storyline? Nope. Okay, we're pausing. We're looking it up right now because
is that not the Judas contract? Is that
no? It's a more recent story.
Okay.
It's a more recent story. Let's see. Well, give me a second.
I'll scat for the meantime. Scat, did you that? No, while you're going, I'll say my 4 for the Fantastic Four: Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I used to have this. Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Captain Marvel, and who was my fourth one? It was Tech, was Spider-Man and like leader Spider-Man. Or no, Captain Marvel was the leader. Spider-Man was Tech. Luke Cage was the muscle. And then I need what? What was I missing? I had somebody else and I can't remember who it was. Somebody else I put in red, I remember. Because I remember saying, let's make the Fantastic Four suits red for that team.
Yes. Ooh, an all red team? That'd be cool.
I can't remember who it was.
Uh, um, so the storyline was Heroes in Crisis by Tom King.
Okay.
Yeah. If you get a chance, check that story out. Like check out Comic Story and the Comics Explained, and to get a feel for that. Because if the Young Justice universe does that story, what character have we been missing since season 2?
Wally?
He could play a very huge part in that. That's just neither here nor there.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah.
let's
All right, number 7. If you could pick someone to play you in a movie of your life, who would it be?
Ooh. Not sure that's a life I want to tell. Hang on. I don't know any young actors that would. Well, maybe. I guess the kid who played Luke, young Bradley in Falcon. I can't really think of anything. I can't think of his name, but
It was is that Elijah
yeah,
Bradley
yeah.
or Isaiah? No, Isaiah's the older one, right?
Yeah, Elijah. I've seen the actor in some other stuff. I can't think of his name on there, but I think he would be a good. I think he'd be a good fit. Honestly,
Okay.
it's not a story for the faint of heart, so I really don't want to buy the story. But if I had to pick, it'd be it. Yeah.
What are we up to? We are on number 8. What 4 people belong on your, not just your comic book version of Mount Rushmore?
Okay, so just comic book characters, right?
It could be characters. It's anything within comics related.
Okay.
So it could be a character, it could be a creator, it could be anything.
MCU Cap, Justice League Unlimited Batman, Stan Lee, and Dwayne McDuffie. And my love for the lines and the story that Kevin Conroy had to tell and recite as Justice League Unlimited and Justice League, you can thank Dwayne McDuffie for all of that.
So then the one head that gets the shirt, the full body, is that your Batman or is that your Dwayne McDuffie?
Just because of the iconic symbol, it would have to be Batman. But,
Alrighty.
That man, that's a video unto itself.
Bro. Oh yeah. Number 9, favorite non-comic book superhero movie ever.
Like you even have to ask. Power Rangers, bro.
I would consider that part of superhero comic book. Like non-nerdy movie. How's that?
Okay. That's all I watched. Neo? Is that considered nerdy?
Neo? You mean like The Matrix?
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's not a nerdy movie, really. I mean, it's a movie. It's not written into like a comic or anything. Well, I mean, I'm off afterwards probably, but
yeah, I know. Like non-comic. I mean, well, if we're going Keanu Reeves, then it's either Neo or John Wick.
yeah,
Yeah,
those are great.
Either one works.
All right, and then finally, the zombie apocalypse is coming. What 3 comic book characters do you want on your team?
Infinity War Thor, after
Okay.
getting Stormbreaker. Comic book Black Panther, and I'll tell you why in a minute. You said 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Comic book Cap,
Ooh.
and so, well, no. Let's do MCU Cap. But the reason I put comic book accurate
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther, we living good in the apocalypse, baby. He controls the dead. We good.
Interesting.
We good,
I
fam.
I think my first choice would have been Wolverine. Healing factor, has that military background, can sniff them all out.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. If you, I feel like it'd be too much effort. Like, oh no, zombie apocalypse. The entire world is zombies. We're dead. Hey, don't you control the undead? I do. Hey, y'all chill out. Bet. All right, we chilling. What's up? Like I can do like, hey, well, Thor and Cat. Well, why are we here? Because I like you. That's it. That's it. So,
A
we're done,
drink,
man.
another.
Yeah, yeah. Let us drink mead for the rest of our days. But no, that's a fun one. I'm gonna think some more about that. But that's a fun one to ask.
Alrighty, well that
Okay,
is
who would your 3 be?
okay.
I want to know.
Wolverine, comic book Wolverine. And it could be from any time point, as long as he's got both hands. I know there's one point where he's got a stub. So as long as so as long as he's got both hands and he's not like freaked out or Phoenix Force or anything, just normal Wolverine. Um, Not Deadpool because I don't want like I want some humor to it, so I'd probably take Spider Man, just because I want some humor, but I don't want to be like berated with it.
Yeah.
So Wolverine, Spider Man, and then I need somebody who's like always prepared, always gonna look out for us. Oh, could always make a plan if need be, and that's gonna either be Cap or it's gonna be Punisher.
Ooh. Okay, I can see that.
Or maybe I take one with like flight. So I mean, Spider-Man swings, so like that gives us some sort of airborne need
Yeah.
be, but like maybe somebody with flight, so that way if we need to like, hey, I need to get to the roof of that building, they just pick us up and take off.
Yee.
Sure. I mean, it's a kind of a cop out to just straight up say like, oh, I want Superman, because then it's
I
like.
was just thinking that, like, at that point, he just plays with everybody. Be done with it.
I mean, you can say invincible, because then at least he's not like fully invincible. He can die, but like a human bite isn't gonna break his skin.
That would imply that Omni Man would have to be there as well, and I just don't see that ending well for anybody.
True.
Anybody, us or the undead. Oh man, this is fun.
It was. I'm glad we started this up. I'm glad I was able to get you on. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, my schedule is so wrecked right now, but I try to take time, not just for myself, but like I said earlier, I try to take more time to spend time with y'all, to hang out. People that I
absolutely.
love, because I mean, in the decade that I've been doing conventions and cosplay and all this stuff, I have built a community unto myself of people that I don't really even consider friends anymore. We were family at this point, and so I consider you a part of that. And so, if we're all, hey, bro, you want to do a podcast with me? It's me, Joe, and Will. Oh yeah, let's do it. And then there you were.
Yeah.
So I, of course, could not miss being back. Because remember, guys, if you were here before, I was on the other part. But we're back and we're on video now, so I'm really
Yes.
happy to be a part back with it. And this is something I want to keep doing. So have me back anytime. You're more than welcome
Absolutely.
on Freaks and Geeks. and any other podcast we do.
Yeah, and by that, which wrapping up, then let's promote your social media first.
Oh boy! All right, so
You got a lot.
so my main hub is Shadow Creatives Entertainment. That is Shadow Creatives ENT. On IG, Facebook, Twitter. Um, to follow my more spicy work is just Shadow After Dark. My cosplay page is Shadow King Cosplay. And you can visit and my comic book page, which I am a comic writer. I've been working on it for a couple of years now. We're probably going to put a push towards it in 2023. So look out for that. That is Shadowverse Comics. To get a hint of my writing style on YouTube, Shadowverse Comics. That is where I produce my what ifs, Marvel, Dragon Ball. They got some DC coming. Like, hey, what if Martian Manhunter got off his ass and actually did something in the Snyder Cut? What was I saying? Oh yeah, and of course my main YouTube page, Shadow Creators Entertainment, as well. So that is the majority of my social media that you can find me at, and follow along for the journey. I got new stuff
Absolutely.
coming soon, guys.
Good to hear. I'm looking forward to all of that. And then for me, obviously, casually cosplaying here on Twitch. Same goes for YouTube. Just look up for casually cosplaying. Instagram also casually cosplaying, and then Twitter because it just loves having to cut off letters. I am casual cosplay in on Twitter. So
Freaking Twitter and its stupid letters.
certain amount of what is it, key characters. So with that, thank you all again for tuning in, and for those of you checking us out on YouTube after the fact, thank you. Like, subscribe, comment, share, do all that fun stuff. All the buttons, push them all.
Yes,
just not this one. This one, yes.
Yes, and as I end on my channel, may the power protect you, may the force be with you, and have the best day possible.
I love it. Once again, I have been casually cosplaying.
I'm Shadow King.
And with that, thank you all for joining us. This has been the first video episode of Under the Mask podcast.
You can see me dancing now.
Enjoy the music as we fade out here.